think you should talk to. His name is Jedadiah Schulz.
I've lived in Wyoming my whole life. The family's been in Wyoming, well, for generations. If you would have asked me before, I would have told you that Laramie is a beautiful place. Secluded enough that you can have your own identity. A town with a strong sense of community. Everyone knows everyone. A town with a personality that most larger cities are stripped of. Now, after Matthew, I would say that Laramie is a town defined by an accident, a crime. Now, when it came time for me to go to college, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. I wanted to study theater. And I knew that if I was going to go to college, I was going to have to get on a scholarship. So I went to the theater department at the university looking for good scenes, and I asked one of the professors, I was like, I need a killer scene. And he was like, here you go, this is it. And it was from Angels in America. So I read it, and I knew I could win Best Scene if I did a good enough job. And when the time came, I told my parents so that they could come to the competition. Now, you have to understand my parents go to everything. Every ball game, every hockey game, everything I've ever done. And they brought me into their room and told me that if I did that scene, that they would not come to see me in the competition because they believed it was wrong, that homosexuality is wrong. They felt that strongly about it that they didn't want to come see their son do probably the most important thing he'd done to that point in his life. Do it. And all I can remember about the competition is that when we finished, me and my scene partner, we came up to each other and we shook hands, and there was a standing ovation. Oh man, it was amazing. And we took first place and we won. And that's how come I can afford to be here at the university, because of that scene. It was one of the best moments of my life, and my parents weren't there. And to this day, that is the one thing that my parents never saw me do. It was such a good scene. It was like the best scene. Do you know Mr. Kushner? Maybe you could tell him. There are certain things when I sit in church.
Jedadiah Schulz.
And the Reverend will tell you flat out that he doesn't agree with homosexuality. And I don't know. I think right now I'm going through changes. I'm still learning about myself. And, you know, I don't feel like I know enough about certain things to make a decision that says homosexuality is right when you've been raised your whole life that it's wrong. And right now I would say that I don't agree with it. Yeah, that I don't agree with it, but maybe that's just because I couldn't do it. And speaking in religious terms, I don't think that's how God intended it to happen, but I don't hate homosexuals. I mean, I'm not going to persecute them or anything like that at all. I mean, that's not going to get in the way between me and the other person at all.
Schulz.
My parents were like, so what plays are you doing this year at school? And I was like, Angels in America. And I told them the whole list of plays. And they were like, Angels in America? Is that play you did in high school? That scene you did in high school? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, huh, so are you going to audition for it? And I was like, yeah. And we got into this huge argument. And the best thing I knew I had them on is it was just after they had seen me in a performance of Macbeth. And on stage, like, I murder like a little kid and Lady Macduff and these two other guys. And she goes, well, you know homosexuality is a sin. She kept saying that. And I go, Mom, I just played a murderer tonight, and you didn't seem to have a problem with that. I have never prepared myself this much for an audition in my life. Never, ever, not even close.
On our last trip, I had the good fortune of seeing Jedadiah Schulz play the role of Pryor in Angels in America. After a performance, we spoke.
I didn't for the longest time let myself become personally involved in the Matthew Shepard thing. It didn't seem real. It just seemed way blown out of proportion. Matthew Shepard was just a name instead of an individual. I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird, man. I just feel bad just for all that stuff I said to you, for the person I used to be. I don't know. I just can't believe I ever said all that stuff about homosexuals, you know? How did I ever let that stuff make me think that you were any different from me?